You're now watching Boomsies on the Bet Rivers Network.
We're gonna have a game 6. Oilers continue the series. We're gonna dive deep with our good friend, Stanley Cup champion, Bryan Bickell. Boomsies!
Boomsies, 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 boomsies. Well, welcome to the show. Come on, it's time, let's go. So glad that you're here. Woo. We're gonna talk some sports and talk some more. Here comes the king of cool. Woo. Oh, please welcome my host, Dan O'Toole. Oh, Dan O'Toole.
Bixie, pretty professional operation since your last year. We didn't have that song. We were sitting outside in some cheap-ass chairs. Now we're in a big studio with a song. Tell us how impressed you are.
Very impressed. I have to admit, it took me, how many episodes last time? Was it 33 to get on?
Yep.
And what
We
are
wanted to get a fine-tuned machine. Now we've got a well-oiled locomotive.
in prime time of the sports world of NHL finals.
Oh, Bixie, see, we usually record on a different day, but we wanted to make sure we saw Game 6 to see what the Oilers did, and holy shit. We thought it was going to be a sweep. It's obviously not a sweep now. I was not invested at all. I said this may go down as the most boring Stanley Cup final in NHL history, and now we've got a Game 6. What the hell happened?
Well, momentum. I think it's a big thing in any sport. I think the momentum where, with Florida being experienced, being there last year, knowing to what to expect, and, I don't think many of Edmonton players have ever actually played in the finals.
Yeah.
Other than Perry and a couple others, but know what to expect, the momentum changes. If McDavid scores 6 points the next 2 games, I can hats off say they're gonna win. And I'm excited to see what's gonna happen on Friday in Edmonton. The city, the town, Canada is gonna be rooting for them for sure.
And the Oilers have figured out how not to have their big guys die on the ice from exhaustion. When Connor Brown scores, which he did shorthanded, you know that they're using every single person in the... When Corey Perry scores again. Did you get any goals like Corey Perry? Connor McDavid did all the work, and then Corey... Yeah, I'll just put that in.
I've had a couple tap-ins from Kane and Taves like that, but it's... The eyes are on Connor when he's going down the ice, and then he's doing all these moves, and Corey just kind of snuck in there and got in the right spot at the right time, and it's like my game tying goal in Boston. Taves and Kane were doing all the work. I just went in front of the net when they looked at him, and I was in the right spot at the right time, and that's what tied us up for us to win the cup in Boston.
What's the most you were down in a series? I think you told me 3-1, right?
3-1 second round against Detroit.
And down 3-1, do you remember a coach's message? Do you remember a team meeting? Or did you guys already know what you had to do?
We knew what they had to do. I think it was in 2013, so we won in 10. And then we know what to expect for each game. We just needed to win a game at a time. And you could hear the interviews with the guys were saying, it's like, we're just taking a game at a time because there is no other game if we don't get the first game done. There's momentum changes in the game, and you could see, the highs and lows. It's just a matter of, shutting down their highs and capitalizing on your own. And watching the game last night, it was outstanding. I'm excited to see what's on Friday.
Did you guys do that one? Because I've heard coaches go through, okay, we have like 5-minute blocks at a time. Did you guys do anything like that? Okay, I'll win this next 5 minutes. Did you have any systems like that?
Well, if we're down in the game, say if we're down 4-1, like say Florida was last night, get a goal every 5 minutes.
Okay.
Try to get the push, and you don't want to, be down 3 goals with 7 minutes. It's gonna be tough to come back, and it's every shift, every little things. Like it's, believe it or not, it is a game of inches. And I've lost games where, it hit somebody and went over a shoulder, and game 7 we lose and the other team goes in the finals and then win the cup. But it was just like, it is a game of inches, and just, you gotta simplify, don't get out of your comfort zone, and just do the right things at the right times.
The last 10 minutes of last night's game was so frantic. When you're in a pace of a game like that, are you guys looking at each other saying, holy fuck, this is like, what is going on? Because it's almost like moving too fast.
I think you're in the moment. I think being nervous and excited in the start of the game, the first couple shifts, first period, you kind of get over that. But when you're that late in the game, you kind of know if your name's getting there, you get the tap to, what you need to do. It's just the norm. The outside noise, the crowd, and everything. You don't really hear that. You're just kind of focused in what you need to do and how to do it. And hats off to even Florida just to come back in that game to make it a game, and watch that last 5 minutes, and it was back and forth. And look at Skinner, what he's doing. He's from not playing a couple of series ago to having a okay game here and there, but now he's kind of calm, cool, collected back there and making the right saves at the right times.
So in the dying minutes, when you're hanging on to a lead and you're trying to chip it out of your end and they stop it at the line or something, what is the feeling of relief when it finally gets out? Because if you're one of those ones that gets to the line and it doesn't get out, you're like, I always think, because it's usually a defenseman, they're like, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. Yeah. Just get it out. Because once it gets out, then your part is wiped clear. Like, okay, no one's going to be pointing at me. Do you feel that in the moment?
I don't think you really feel in the moment.
Because I do. I'm stressed out. I'm like, get it the hell out. That guy's going to hear it the rest of the year.
I don't think so. And if you don't get it out, you're going to try, 10 times harder to try to, to capitalize.
They go into like turbo mode if you turn it off.
I think, in that late of game, you're just trying to keep it simple and just trying to get the puck out at all blues, the blue line, the red line, get it deep, kind of things like that. So you have less, obviously, time in your own zone, less whistles. Less rest for the other team. So you just need to really simplify, find the open areas. And these guys have been playing hockey for a long time. Like it's second nature to them to do these kind of things. Yes, there's going to be mistakes, but it goes on both sides.
When you're clinging to a lead in that final minute, has there been, when you're in it, have you looked up at the clock and say, it feels like 5 minutes have gone by, but no time has gone?
Yeah, well, maybe not 5 minutes.
Like it must feel like time is standing still when you're the one clinging to the lead.
Maybe like the last 2 minutes if you have a lead, and then most of the time I'm a cheerleader on the bench. I don't really see the ice then. Usually it's like the Taves and the Hosas and the guys that are checking, even the Bolins and stuff like that. The guys that are out there to check and play the smart way. I'm just rooting these guys on because in 2 minutes it does seem like a long time, but you have that ultimate goal to win the cup.
Okay, so you were down 3-1 to Detroit. So you win the next game to make it 3-2. What are you doing in the lead up to game 6? What are the Oilers doing right now? Is there a message sent, or are you guys just getting all the rest you can? What's happening?
Well, rest is a big thing. Quenneville, when we played, he always liked to have short practices. Rest is a weapon. The more rest you have, obviously, in this late of the year, you kind of get your rest when you can. Do video. Obviously, the last 2 games, Edmonton was, their game was on where they needed to be. They just kind of keep that little things refreshed in their mind, what we need to do here, power play and things like that. And I think Edmonton, they pass a lot, and they're great passers, and they're looking for that backdoor stuff, but they need to simplify. And you see a couple goals, like look at McDavid's from bottom of the circle. He just kind of slipped it through his 5-hole and unexpected.
Oh, that was horrible.
But he,
why wasn't Bobrovsky doing the team, whatever that move, the
butterfly maybe, or one post, or I don't know. He was just standing there in La La Land. But I think just thinking what's working, stick to that, and get ready for game 6. So it's going to be one of the most watched televised game in a long time.
Oh yeah. So in Edmonton, I always think, okay, so when the Oilers come there, the place is going to be going bonkers. They're back at home. Do you have to tell yourself, okay, I I could probably run through the end boards because of the energy inside my body? Do you have to bring yourself down?
No, I think you just ride that. I think you ride.
But you could like kill someone. There's probably so much going on inside your body.
Well, the adrenaline does take over. This is the last game. They've had the last game, the last two games, but the momentum is definitely in Edmonton's favor. Down 3-0, 0-3, but then chipping away, and then they're like, we're gonna bring it back to game six. Like Florida's in a tough spot, and if they lose this game, going back home, they're gonna be in a tougher spot because
They have all the pressure right now.
they do have all the pressure, and it's fun to watch. It's tough to be in, but hats off to Edmonton, what they're doing. It's something cool, and I'm excited to see Game 6.
If there is a Game 7, it's going to be on Monday. So the cup will be handed out June 24th. And we were talking about this before we started recording. These guys in this cup final are going to have 2 months off. And in today's day and age, you train all summer. So really, are they going to have any time off? Maybe they'll have a week? Because they're back at it in September.
Well, it depends on what kind of injuries they're going through. I remember when I was in 13, it was the lockout year, so it was a shortened season, and then it would have been a shortened summer. And then we got married the same year, me and my wife, and then we went on a 2-week honeymoon. So I legit worked off. I worked for maybe 2 weeks, and I was coming off thumb surgery. I popped a tendon in my thumb, so I had to get that fixed. So I was in a cast for like a month. Like I had zero workout for the summer. It was like a month and a half. But this is your goal. You lead up from the summer to the season to the playoffs to get to this moment. Injuries all aside, like it's a tough, grueling, stretch. I can't believe when the Islanders won 4 in a row. Like I wasn't really watching hockey much back then, but like it was something crazy to see that. And then look at Florida; they're in back-to-back. They're getting the wear and tear and over the 2 years of a lot of hockey, and it's going to be tough, and you're going to do whatever it takes.
Well, when the Islanders won 4 straight, they didn't work out in the offseason.
They just had
I think they would openly admit that. I think what's the famous line when Mary Lemieux said when he stopped getting mayo on his club sandwiches at the golf course, that's when he was training for the upcoming season.
I don't know. Those are the good old days.
Yeah, exactly.
They had to work out to stay in the league.
Well, they would be back working on the farms.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Like they got farmer strength.
Yeah.
Did you have any guys on your in your travels with farmer strength where you're like, okay, that guy's never lifted a weight, but they're like built like a brick shithouse?
Well, like Big Buff he worked.
Oh, yeah.
Big Buff worked out, but he didn't look like he worked out, but he had strength that, no one wanted to touch because, he could hurt some guys.
What's he doing now? He's fishing like you.
He's fishing like me. He's having a good time. We're enjoying retirement. He's got 3 kids. I think he's up in Minnesota somewhere, up on the lake. So he's enjoying the retirement, fishing a lot. And I was supposed to do tournaments with him this year, but 2 of the tournaments fell on the kids' birthdays. So my kids are still turning 10 and 8, so I got to attend those and not miss those.
So last time we checked in, you're an avid fisherman. You're in tournaments. How have the tournaments gone so far? And they're all bass, right?
Yeah, just
you're a big bass guy.
Big bass guy. So Bass Open last weekend. So there was tournaments on, but I was busy with other commitments. Got a tournament this weekend. Did a little bit of practicing on Monday. I have my buddy, my partner, he's out there today. Scouting around, see where they're at, how they're doing.
How much scouting are you allowed to do before a tournament?
It depends on the tournament. There could be, some tournaments, there's cutoff dates 2 days before the tournament, or some people have right to the tournament day. So there's different tournaments have different rules.
Where do you catch a bass? In the shade?
Most of the shade, especially right now in the shade, because, the water is still cold, but it is mid-June. But with temperature we have, shady spot is a good spot. Like I got to your house, I'm like, this is too hot. Get me inside because it's nice and cool in here.
I always say this when it's warm out, as my grandfather would describe it. it's close. Because he'd go and say, oh, it's close out there. And I'm like, that's a perfect description for heavy humidity.
Close.
Close. Because the air is close to you. It's like,
Oh, you feel it. Okay.
yeah, it's close. You can use that if you
Oh,
want.
yeah, that's an old term. I haven't heard that one.
When you're fishing for bass, how many times do you catch a non-bass?
Oh, yeah, multiple. Like there's muskie, pike,
Like
walleye.
do you ever catch a big one? You're like, oh man, oh shit, it's a salmon.
Yeah. Well, maybe not a salmon. Mostly like pike and muskie, things like that. You set hook, you're like, oh, it's a big one. Then it jumps up, and you're like, gosh.
What's the ugliest fish out there?
Like
when you catch one, you're like, yeah.
Well, catfish are pretty ugly. They're pretty slimy and ugly. Do
we have catfish in Ontario?
We have catfish. There's a dogfish. It's kind of like it's ugly as shit too. But
can you eat that?
I'm sure you can eat anything. But I try to get a void and just throw those guys back in. But yeah, mostly just bass for me. Big bass guy.
Are there sunfish tournaments? Because I'm a big sunfish catcher.
I don't know, but I'm sure there is.
Because that's the one where you drop your hook by the dock. You got all the sunfish you want.
You got the bobber in the dock with the worm. It's game on.
Well, that's all. When you're a kid, that's all. I caught something. I don't care what the hell it is.
Yeah, well, it is because they're biting every.
And sunfish are prickly.
Prickly. Well, you have to learn how to hold them. They're not prickly.
I still want to get on that boat. Can we get like a noon fishing time?
A noon fishing time?
Yeah, you go out too early.
Well, you can meet me at noon.
Well, I gotta swim out to the boat?
Well, I can pick you up. The boat has a motor. Yeah, we need to get out. We've been talking about it getting out for a while.
For about 7 years now.
Yes.
Oh no, I went out one day at your cottage because you guys were up early and I was sleeping in a tent and I'm like, well, I'm up already.
Let's get going.
Took some good photos that day.
I remember that actually, yeah.
I like the boat because it's a lot of silence. I do like silence.
That is my happy place where, I go out a lot by myself, so it's like just me and the fish, and me and nature, me and water. Like it's quiet. It was my thing that, people golf during the off season. Like I fished. It was my my therapy in a way.
Yeah, you bring up golf. So Brian is one of these golfers where how many times? What would you play like a summer? 10 times?
Yeah, max 10 times.
So Bickell plays 10 times a summer. I play probably 40 times a summer, and you get out and you beat me by like 20 strokes without even barely trying. So much so, we talk about the last time you came to my course. You had an 8 on the first hole. And we're like, oh man, today's the day I beat Bix, and you still beat me by 12 strokes.
No, that's not how you start.
Like
it's how you
just
finish.
But it's one of those sports where if you like play 10 more rounds a year, you could be like single digit handicap.
Yeah, I think so. Like
it's annoying.
Well, I played a lot of golf when I was a kid. It was my parents worked during the summer, so they're like, here's a membership at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Drive my bike there, drive my bike, play 36 holes, come home, and my parents had dinner on the table. That was my thing when I was around 8 or 9 years old. So I played a lot of golf when I was younger, and then bought my first house. Then I was like, it was on the water, so then I got into fishing, and then kind of fishing took over. But I still like to get out. If I practice more, I'll obviously you'd be better. But
you would be a weapon in a best ball.
I do a lot of best ball tournaments.
Because you could get we got a safety one, 220 yards out there, Bix, let it go. And you can just swing out of your boots.
Yeah, well, I have, did I tell you that story about the long drive competition?
No?
So it's kind of a funny story. So it was up in Deer Creek, up in Ajax or wherever it is. I was 18 years old, did a long drive competition. One of my dad's buddies had those long extended drivers. He did the tour or whatever. So there's 350 walk-ons. So then I was a walk-on from the public, qualified first to go head-to-head against the Pinnacle Tour.
Mm-hmm.
If I beat one of the Pinnacle Tour guys, I would have got $5,000, trip to Vegas, played in the long drive competition, whatever. So then I qualified first out of 5 guys that qualified out of whatever 200 plus guys. hitting the ball really good on the driving range, like hitting it 400 yards. Like this is,
And it
going
has to
good.
be accurate too.
It has to be in the grid on the fairway
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then I go up. The guy went first. He hit like 380. I'm like, okay, I can beat this. And that was his longest. And then I OB'd, and you only get 5 balls. Then I OB'd, so I'm like, oh, I gotta hit the fairway here. And then I OB'd 5 times in a row
Oh,
in
shit.
the finals. And then my face of my club had a crack in it. So that the guy, obviously, I broke the club off. He's like, that would have been the reason why it would happen. But the funny part of the story is, well, kind of funny. So I pulled in that morning. It was like 9:30. Pulled in with my 94 Cavalier when I was 18. Pulled up a guy who was sleeping. Then I had the whole day event, got back around 4, came back to my car. The guy wasn't sleeping anymore. He passed away.
Whoa, he was dead?
He was dead in the car. So
What the fuck?
The windows were down. So then I went around to the driver's side. I was obviously trying to talk to him. I poked him. I'm like, God, this guy's dead.
You poked a dead body?
Yeah, see if he's sleeping.
Oh, God.
Then I went to the clubhouse. I'm like, hey, can I speak to the manager? And then they're like, oh, no, he's in a meeting. I'm like, no, I really need to speak to a manager. They're like, no, he's in it. I'm like, all right, I've been at this golf course for, 9+ hours. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, you have a dead guy in your parking lot.
Oh, God.
And then he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I pulled up, told the story, and I'm like, he's dead. And I'm like, then obviously they got everybody, and then I showed them, and I'm like, I got out of there and before everybody came.
Oh, my God. You discovered a dead body in a golf course parking lot.
So that's my long drive, story with finding a dead person, yes.
Did you find out what happened?
It looked like he had a stroke.
Oh.
Because he was kind of like this, and I was like, ugh.
Old guy, young guy?
Older, say 60 plus. Yeah.
Had he arrived for his tea time, or was it like from the day before, do you think?
Well, when I got there, I noticed he was sleeping. But then when I left, he was for sure sleeping. So.
Okay. Hey, you having a long nap in there, bud?
Yeah.
Just pokey.
Yeah, it wasn't good, but so that's my long drive competition. And
That's an interesting, I want to speak to your manager moment.
Yeah.
He dead.
Legit, I said, you got a dead guy in your parking lot.
Oh, God. You've never told me that.
Yeah.
Have you discovered any other dead bodies?
I've saved somebody on the water.
Whoa.
Once. Yeah.
Okay, tell us that.
Me and the wife were driving to Bewdley on the river up in Peterborough.
Yeah, beautiful Bewdley, yeah.
Went to Rhinos, had dinner. Big storm came through. We were eating dinner. Saw the guy fishing on the shore. Came back through after the storm, and then I'm like, his van's still there. I don't know where he is. So then I drove by and then turned back around, and he's like laying in the rocks. And he was an older guy. He said he got struck near lightning or whatever, but he says I saved him. I think I just helped him, but who knows where he would be if, I didn't pull over and brought him to his car.
Was he in like cardiac arrest or something?
He was just laying in the rocks. He couldn't get up. He was old, and he broke a rib and separated shoulder. But funny enough, his grandson, I trained with him in Peterborough in hockey, so that was the story about that.
So, sounds like you're very aware of your surroundings, Bix.
I'm very observant, yes.
You'd be a good private eye.
Yeah. Well, I might take a lot of naps, though. That's the thing. I'm a sleeper. Like, I fell asleep during that second period because my TV I live stream everything, so it was buffing, and then I was like, I took a little nap, and then I woke up.
I'm very envious of your napping ability. We can be in like the middle of a party, and I'll look over, and you're just having a 5-minute snooze.
Yes, I'm a very easy sleeper. When it's time to hit the sheets, I usually go to sleep.
What also probably has to do that you get up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, my sleep patterns haven't been great lately. I don't know why. I can go to bed at midnight and wake up at 5:30. I can go to bed at 10 o'clock, but I still get up at like 4:30. I get this certain amount of hours and I'm up. And yeah, I don't know.
What's going on at that time? Like the rooster's out?
The sun's coming up. That's about it.
Do you go for an early morning walk?
Coffee, highlights, then highlights again. And then, pitter patter around the house and try to be quiet until the family wakes up, and get the day going.
Do you make like a big TV family breakfast where it's like pancakes and freshly baked muffins and eggs? Do you do a whole spread?
Well, usually on the weekends,
Yeah, I do.
I
I do
try
the
to get
weekends too.
weekends. I try to get the kids get going because they're sleepers too. So one's usually up with me, not up with me, but like usually like an hour later. But then the other ones are like, okay, we need to start moving, get on the bus or go to school. So trying to choke something down their throat to get on the bus.
Yeah, they're not big appetites in the morning. Once my dad, my oldest brother Sean, had problems getting up, and my dad was fed up one day, and he brought in a pail of water
Yeah.
and threw it out in the bed. And I always think about that. I'm like, the cleanup of that, just to make your point, would have been like, that mattress is wet. Like, I don't think I'd go through with it just because of the after effects of the pail of water.
Yeah, my parents never gave me the pail of water. I was up with my dad most of the time.
Well, yeah, I never got a pail of water either.
No.
I probably just wore. Okay, I'm out of here.
Well, we'll see when the girls get teenagers, see how much they're sleeping. So.
Well, here I will say this: I'll advocate for them. Teenagers need their sleep.
Oh, really?
They need a lot of sleep, or else they get cranky.
A lot of.
Yeah. Do not wake a sleeping bear. That's my motto.
Well, mine actually go to sleep pretty early too, so kind of happy about that. They're not night hawks like the wife.
My best thinking goes on at night.
No, my brain usually shuts off.
Like I was up at 1 last night, and a buddy texts me. He's like, "Hey, the Oilers won," and I'm like, "I think something's wrong with your feed because the game ended like 3 hours ago."
Yeah.
And he's out in Saskatoon. My good friend Wasey Rabbit.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "What the hell are you doing up?" I'm like, "I don't know. This is when I feel alive. It's the time when no one needs my attention." So I think that's why I take advantage of it. I'm like, there's no FaceTimes, there's no phone calls, there's no, "Daddy, can I have this? Daddy, can you do this for me?" I'm just like, this is my time.
That's like me in the morning.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, 5:30.
Or ships passing in the night.
I got an hour of not hearing anything.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people, usually retired athletes, who get up at like 4 and they're like, that's my time.
Yeah.
I'm like, my time is in bed. My time is sleepies.
Yeah, I'm not much of a sleeper though, but I do go to sleep pretty easy.
We were talking about golf. Did you watch any of the U.S. Open?
A little bit, yeah.
Have we ever seen the reversal of how an athlete is viewed, like Bryson DeChambeau? For some reason, he was not hated, but he was very disliked. Now he's maybe the most popular golfer on the tour. Well, he's not even on the PGA Tour, but professional golfer.
I just think like the way he celebrated, how he went on with that week, and how it ended, is getting a lot of views. And then those funny videos that he's pulling out, he's working out with signing.
Yeah.
Like I saw a bunch of videos. It's funny.
And like he played 1 hole with a junior set of clubs to see if he could birdie or par it.
Yeah.
Even before his U.S. Open went, he had won me over because I've talked about this before. My Instagram is filled with golf tips.
Mm-hmm.
Every second thing on my fucking Instagram is a golf tip. And I stop and look at every single one because it's all like the quick tip that'll fix your slice.
Yeah.
And DeChambeau pops up on a lot of them, and he's very good at dumbing it down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like this guy. And then he wins that U.S. Open, and everyone else got to see that's not on Instagram and sees his videos, and they're like, this guy is normal, and we all thought he was like a robot.
Yeah, he's definitely capitalized in the moment for sure. I feel bad for Roy after those 2-3 footers.
Oh boy. Yesterday playing with the boys, and anytime someone missed a putt, they're like, "Oh, McElroy." I'm like, "Oh no, McElroy."
It just sucks. Like he had like how many days or how many putts? Like almost 500 putts in a row, 3 foot. He's never missed.
I know.
Missed 2 of them in the final round and lose by 1.
Yep.
God, those greens were fast though. Give him that. But man,
I would miss those too, because if we're playing like skins or something on the course and it's like worth $5 and it's a 2-footer, I'm like, oh no, I can't. Yeah,
those are the hardest putts, the 3-footers. I think past 5, it's like, I might make it, but I
yeah.
might not make it, which is okay. But those 3-footers, they get you every time.
So, does any athlete come to mind, like maybe when you're even playing, where you're like, okay, this guy was seen as a villain, and no, he's actually turns out to be a nice guy?
Now you put me on the spot there, but I think all hockey players are good. From what I've recognized, I think that Brad Richardson, he came from New York, and then he had like the supermodels and the
Mm-hmm.
actors and things like that. Like I didn't know him. Then he came to Chicago for the year of, I think it was in 2015. Um, Seeing his life not there, but then him coming in, it's like, oh, this guy's actually pretty decent. He wants to win. He wants to be a part of the team. He did whatever it took. But there's whining moments. But every hockey player is usually pretty good.
I discovered this with Patrick Waugh, and I've told this story many times, but I always thought he was kind of like, okay, this guy's not personable, but talking to people in the Islanders organization since he's gone there, and they're like, he's the most motivational, positive person you could ever meet. And I'm like, did not expect that from Patty Waugh.
Well, you had experience with them before, right?
Well, my photo, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The photo.
The photo you wanted to get signed, but then he's like, nah. He's like,
no, I just wanted to take a picture.
Yeah.
So that Patty Waugh comes to mind. Any legends where you ran into, like, oh, this guy's going to be gruff, but they're actually, oh no, that's a really good dude.
Not on my side.
You ever run into Wayner?
I've seen him in a distance, but no, I haven't actually talked to him.
Really?
Yeah.
Me neither. I've never had personal one-on-one time with Wayner. I've seen him in a lobby at the All-Star Weekend. He was chit-chatting with folks.
The one year I was at the NHL Awards, my last year, Lemieux was sitting behind me.
Oh.
But he, we shook my hand and he said congratulations.
He's a class act.
Which is, then that was about it for conversation with him. But yeah, I kind of avoid the big guys. Like, what do I talk about? How
I know
do I talk?
You would have something to talk about, but even as a person who didn't play, you're like, okay, say I go up to Wayner. What am I going to say? Hey, Wayne, what's up?
How's the wineries doing?
Yeah. Like you always like, okay, maybe I'll say something original or no.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm just going to waste this guy's time.
Yeah.
I don't want to be wasting people's time.
No, especially the guy, he's a busy man.
Mario is one guy, though, where, so my good buddy, Steve Webb, he was with the Penguins organization for a bit, and he got to go on a private jet and stuff with them. He says Mario is the nicest, most humble guy you ever meet. And he got a lot of money now.
Yeah.
Does he still own part of that team?
I think so, yeah.
Because remember, they owed him money. He'll like, no, I'll just take part of the team.
Yeah, just give me half the team.
The greatest deal ever for an athlete.
When he was, 15 years ago or 20 years ago when he retired? And they owed him a whack of money. He's like, I'll just take half the team. And then, where's it now? Like billions?
Yeah. Were you ever... No, you wouldn't have been old enough to be in hockey drafts when Mario and Wayne were still around. Because they were so good. I was in hockey drafts where you weren't allowed to take them. Because you would win the pool if you got one of them.
So you just don't pick them?
Mario and Wayne were not able to be picked. Everyone else. Because think about it. If you got the first 2 picks, one takes Wayne, one takes Mario, and you're like, everyone else is fucked.
No, it's like Draisaitl, McDavid.
No, but there's no one on that level.
They're doubling everyone's points.
Yes.
Yeah. I can see that, yeah.
McDavid. Oh my gosh. I saw someone, I think it was Cam Cole on Twitter last night, a award-winning writer, where he talked about Wayne would do things like a magician out on the ice, where it was like sleight of hand, where McDavid is different because he takes you out of your seat. And I'm like, that's a great way to look at it, because Wayner didn't really wow people. He just accumulated a lot of points by being in the right place, right time. McDavid creates those right places, right time by just using speed and skill that we've never seen.
Yeah, it's to the next level of where he's at.
Like when he gets the puck at center, you're like, oh shit.
Him and McKinnon are the ones that I like. If they get the puck, like they're gonna make their own destiny of where they're going. Like last goal that on the power play, he cut through 2. Then he had 3, especially Bob watching him. No one saw Perry coming in, and like he just tapped it in. You get all the hype, and Perry, got a goal in the finals again. But him and McKenna are the two that it's something special what they do on that.
I have to go back and look at the entire shift and see where, like, especially McKinnon, where he starts.
Yeah.
And he starts gaining speed, and you're like, it's like a train.
I can't imagine playing against him. I was happy that I didn't. So, if I did it, I'll be on the bench. So
I told you the one quote I saw about McKinnon, the way he skates. Someone said it's like he's mad at the ice.
Well, I don't think he doesn't go straight. Like he crosses, like he builds speed by.
Yeah, the crossovers gets him some speed.
He's a skier. Like he just comes down flying, and you don't know where he's going, and it makes my head spin.
Did you have any teammates like him? Because I heard McKinnon is a perfectionist, and like every practice is like you're practicing for Game 7 of the Cup final.
Obviously Taves was a good practice player, but he wasn't the skill to those guys. Kane was, Kane. He did things in practice every single day. I remember he would get on the ice and do this one move that he's got probably at least 100 goals, or not 100, say about 50 goals, where he goes back, he fakes backhand, goes short side, like bar down. And he's done that a million times in practices and every pregame, and it shows in games, because it's like people don't shoot there because it's not open, but there's like that little foot, 1.5 inch space that puck can get in there. He does it every single time, and he perfected that move down, hands down. I've seen many goals.
Did you perfect any moves in practice?
The dump in, yes. The dump and chase and body check. I didn't hit body checks, but I definitely threw the body around.
Here's one thing that always annoys me as a viewer of the game. When you're on a power play or something, or it doesn't matter where you are in a game. When a defenseman wires one, or any player wires one, and you're going far side and it misses, and then it caroms out of the zone, we're like, why don't you go to the other side? Because the puck will stay in the zone.
Yeah, that was one of Quenneville's hated things.
Okay, it's so like, he hated it too.
He hated it. It's like if it's open, like unless it's like the big dogs, and they can hit that shot, say, half of the time. But if you're below them, like if you shoot for a rebound, shoot for opportunity for a second opportunity, and maybe the first opportunity goes in, but do not shoot far side, because one, it could be breakout.
Yes.
2, it could be a 2-on-1 going out. Shorthanded, do not pass the puck. He's like, if it's a 2-on-1, do not pass the puck and do not shoot far side.
Yes.
He's like, shoot short side and shoot. Don't make a pass, because the D can break it up. And
so if someone missed far side by like 5 feet and it went out,
he lose his mind.
Yes.
And cross corner dump, he did not like the cross corner dump. He's like, rim it hard to give the goalie a chance to, bumble it or whatever. Do not cross corner dump so it just pops out for the D to break out. You got to make it a hard rim or throw it on net for a rebound.
Ah.
Yeah, he would, his eyes crossed when he did that shit. So,
did you guys have any home bounces on your boards, like the old Peterborough Memorial Center, where you can get a dump in and know exactly where it's going to go because of the square boards?
The square corners and
square corners.
Yeah, the corners are like 90 degrees with a little curve in it. I don't think the arenas now. I think the old Joe Louis had the lively boards. Now everything's the same. We didn't have an advantage back in the day. Then they went to plastic glass, right? We used to be glass, like glass.
Yeah.
So like the median's like, but everything's usually equal now. So.
So any superstitions? So after you guys go 3-2. After you win that game to make it 3-2, did you do anything the same going into game 6? Wear the same suit like McDavid's probably going to do.
Well, Fogel's wearing the Michael Jordan T-shirt underneath his suit.
Okay.
He's won the 2 games, and they did that. For me, no, I don't think there was.
Same pregame meal,
the same routine. I think every day, it doesn't change in the games. I think, but there's guys to the next level. They would say the same words during warm up and in the locker room and things like that. And it's like, oof, that's tiring just to think about. For me, I was pretty simple. Live in the moment, not in the past, and I didn't really have too many superstitions.
Were you guys in a hotel when you're at home for the
Yes.
Cup final?
Yeah, we did hotels the whole time, first round all the way through.
Was family allowed to come visit?
Well, we would stay home, but then come bedtime or whatever.
Oh, then you just go
pregame
to the
meal,
hotel.
you
then.
go to the hotel, play cards or hang out with the guys for a couple hours and hit the sheet. So
Yeah, because if they were at home, I'm like, I hope they would get each player a butler who would do everything for them, where you can you don't do anything.
yeah, I think I don't know if we were the first team, but I think we were one of the first teams to start doing that, because I think it was in 2010 where our away record was better than our home record.
Mm-hmm.
So then we're like, well, let's start putting them in the hotels. And I think it took them the second round to figure it out, maybe in the third round. And then ever since after that, we would always book hotel rooms for home.
And on the flights, were you a reader, video games, or cards? Cards.
Yeah, I was a big card guy.
And were you good?
Oh, I was good. Yeah.
Oh!
Well, you take advantage of the rich,
Yeah.
No, but, for pastime, maybe a movie here and there, but no, I dedicated.
Was there a limit to how big the pot could get?
Well, it depends on the player. There's different players had different limits, and I've heard stories where guys paid off their mortgages over the years because of the gambling.
But you think though the management would say, we don't want this leaking, guys. Keep it to $5,000 or something. You don't want it to get up to $100,000.
No, we've never got anything over $10,000.
Okay.
In losing. But there's guys that could lose $50,000 on a road trip. I'm like, $50,000 on a road trip? I'm like, I wasn't brought up that way, and the team I played with, we were pretty reserved. And
I just be betting per diem. That's it.
Well, the per diem, yeah, that's usually gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, she gone.
Yeah, she gone.
And you don't even need per diem now in the NHL because all the team meals you're dining together.
Yes. But it's the same thing over and over again. The food gets starting to be a norm and blah, and it's nice to go out and enjoy something. I remember in 2013 we played LA, and I used to eat sushi before a game. So then I would go eat sushi, and then everyone would eat at the meal, and I would go eat sushi by myself. And then that was my playoff run where I started to do really well, and I was still eating sushi. And then conference finals, then there had 6, 7 guys starting to eat sushi with me, and got into a thing. It was something that was light, because when you eat sushi, you're like, oh, I'm full. But then a couple hours, you feel like you need to eat again.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next day, it just kind of got me ready, and had the sushi train. And
do you have Coke when you're eating sushi?
I do something carbonated, yeah, a Pepsi or a Coke.
For some reason, sushi, I always have to have a Coke. It just goes perfect together.
Just digest and breaks it down.
We got to hit the all-you-can-eat sushi at the Bowmanville Mall. You and I should go.
That one?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not bad.
Do it for lunch.
Yeah. Well, Bixie, this was fun.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on again.
We stayed cold. It's actually too cold down here right now.
You're getting cold?
Yeah.
This is perfect temperature for me.
Yeah, you like the cold.
I like the cold. The heat, not so much.
Appreciate it. And predictions for Game 6.
I think it's going to be a big one. I think it's going to be a 6-3.
For the Oilers?
Yes. And
I will say, I will preface this. When they were down 3-0, you said, no problem. They're going to come back. And you said for Game 5 that they'd win 5-2. They won 4-3. But you have been on the other side.
5-3. Empty netter.
5-3, yes. So you're pretty damn close.
They're close. I didn't see the 8-1 game.
Yeah.
But that was just one in a while, but I think they're going to pull it off again.
They
need some role players to pick it up, but I think McDavid's going to, see Draisaitl on the board would be nice.
Yes.
But I say 6-3.
Okay. Thanks, Pixie.
Yeah.
Good luck out there on the river or lake. Do you rivers or lakes?
Lakes and rivers. Yeah.
Okay.
Next weekend.
Make sure you hug somebody. I always tell people to hug somebody.
Yeah.
You don't know who needs it.
Okay.
And be nice. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Welcome to Boomsies with Dan O'Toole. Live from Orono in the heart of Ontario. Oh, baby, Boomsies.
Thanks for listening to Boomsies.